and welcome back to another video. This is the third video in this series where I am showcasing my own personal writing process, writing and editing and publishing process, where I go through everything that I do in detail, what programs and software I use, what writing, editing, drafting tools that I personally use as a writer. I go through in detail and show you guys what exactly I do when I'm writing my books. So the first video I talked about DABBLE, what I do for my drafting process. I use DABBLE. I will link that video up here in the top of the video. I also talked about Fictionary. Fictionary Story Coach is what I use for story level editing once I finish drafting. And this is what I start with. So if you haven't watched those videos yet, feel free to watch them, parts 1 and 2. And if you have watched them, then here is part 3 of that. Last week we left off at the scene level. So I'm going to demonstrate how exactly I edit on the scene level. When I was talking about what I do when I draft and dabble, I actually create this exact thing using those dabble cards. Feel free to check out that video to show what I mean. So I essentially recreate this using those dabble cards. I have the scene name, who's the POV character, what is their goal, what happens if it fails, so what are the stakes, and then tension and conflict, which we will come back to. But I essentially map that out in Dabble, but I also do that in Story Coach. You can create this for yourself. It's just that Fictionary Story Coach automatically does it for you if you fill everything in, so you don't need to worry about missing anything. But if you have your own way of doing it, then feel free to do that as well. This is just a possibility of something you can add into your process if it works for you. Once I fill in everything on the evaluate page, which I will show in this video, these will all be filled up and you can evaluate for each scene if your tension and conflict is strong in this scene. Is there enough stakes in your story? Okay, so now we come to the evaluate page, which is where the magic happens. So this is where you fill out everything. And once you fill out everything here, then you'll be able to visualize everything better. There's a few things that you can actually have AI do, and there's other things that you have to fill in yourself. Fictionary is constantly being updated, and there are more and more features being added and more features under this Just Ask Fictionary tab. As you saw in the previous video, we used AI to help name our scenes. So the AI analyzed each of our scenes and named them according to what the scene was about. And I also mentioned that if the AI can come up with a scene name that's under 5 words, then that's usually a good sign. But if it can't, if it's over 5 words, then your scene might not be as clear as you'd like it to be. And as you can see here, my scene 1, there's 5 words. It's pretty good, it's pretty clear. And I do think my prologue is pretty good in that. But then you see chapter 1, it's a little more unclear. There's 6 words here. It's a little unclear what that's about. So that's a sign that I might want to look at that scene a little more closely. But let me show you what you can do with Just Ask Fictionary. So I'm going to use the prologue as an example, and I'm going to demonstrate how I do all this. So what I like to start with is the scene overview. I've already named this scene. So I've done that, and under scene overview, we're under this tab, Just Ask Fictionary Scene Overview. We have the word count, okay? We have the point of view character, which is Aubrey Quinn, and we know that Aubrey is the protagonist, so that's all great. Then we click AI Scan, and now we get the scene overview as seen by AI. We have the scene name, we have the word count, and we have Aubrey as the POV character, and that's all good. Now I'm going to move to tension and conflict. I'm going to click save just in case. I'm going to move to tension and conflict. So now that we know the POV character is Aubrey Quinn, then we can have AI evaluate the tension and conflict. And as you saw on that page that I showed you before, the tension and conflict page, the tension and conflict of a scene is based on who's the POV character for the scene, what is their scene goal, what are the stakes. What happens if they don't get it? What happens if they fail? What happens if they don't reach that goal? That's essentially what tension is. Well, that's tension. Conflict is what is standing in the way, what is in direct conflict with that POV character and their goal. With that knowledge, let's evaluate the tension and conflict for this scene. Okay, so AI said, based on what it read, Aubrey Quinn, okay, we have her as the POV, her goal is to find her father. What if goal fails? Aubrey's father disappears, leaving behind a cryptic message and a trail of destruction. Alright, that's a bit dramatic, but that's what we want. That's what we want in a book. Okay. Tension. Aubrey's worried because her father, who rarely expresses emotions, called her to say he loved her and then disappeared, leaving behind a chaotic office and a mysterious message. Conflict. The external conflict in the scene is directly related to Aubrey's goal of finding her father. The scene establishes that something is wrong, and Aubrey's immediate concern is finding her father and understanding what happened. Okay, so that's pretty good. And as you can see here, the story goal, the POV character's goal in the scene, is directly related to the protagonist's goal for the whole book. Right, because her goal is to find the hacker, fix the code to find her father. So this scene is a direct relation to that story goal, to find her father. And so we see the story stakes here. So what happens if the goal fails? This could be made clearer, probably. So based on this, let's look at the scene structure and evaluate that. Entry hook. So the entry hook is what's at the beginning of the scene that hooks the reader in. We want the entry hook to appear early on in the scene. So if it doesn't appear early on, we might want to take a look at why that is. And then POV goal, to find her father. Yep. Scene middle. Aubrey's father's unexpected call reveals a hidden truth, forcing her to confront their strained relationship and a potential danger. Scene middle should happen at about the midpoint of the scene. Looking at this scene, I'll probably, that's fine, the scene middle, but I'll probably want to bring the entry hook further up to create a stronger scene. So that's how I know how I'm going to edit this. Scene climax, Aubrey discovers her father's office in disarray, revealing a hidden project and a cryptic message. That's good. I have that at the end of towards the end of the scene. We want the scene climax to appear close to the end. And then exit hook. What does QENS mean? Perfect. So exit hook is supposed to happen at the very end of the scene. It's to hook the reader in to keep reading on to the next scene. So what grabs their attention so they want to keep reading. So this is how to evaluate your scenes using AI. And this in itself is very powerful. I'm sure you can see that based on what we've been doing with it so far. But another cool thing that Fictionary does when you evaluate is it automatically fills this in for you. So it's already there when you are looking to fill these in for each scene. Now I just want to show you quickly when we go back to right over here. Now you can see this is all filled out for the first scene. We have scene 1, daughter finds father's missing office, and point of view character Aubrey Quinn. What is her goal? To find her father. What if goal fails? Aubrey's father disappears, leaving behind a cryptic message and a trail of destruction. Tension. Aubrey's worried because her father, who rarely expresses emotions, called her to say he loved her and then disappeared, leaving behind a chaotic office and a mysterious message. Conflict. Directly related. We want the conflict to be directly related to Aubrey's goal because we want the conflict to get in the way of the goal. So this is good that it's directly related. The premise that we saw in the story blurb, which was that Aubrey must find and convince a brilliant hacker to fix the AI Echo's code, otherwise she won't be able to find her father. And this is what sets that into motion.
Greetings, I'm Dr. Torrance Quinn. I'm the one everyone is looking for, but do I really want to be found? I guess you'll have to pick up the book to find out. Who knows, maybe you'll find me yourself.